based on magnesium partly, and it'll burn through pretty much anything. So it's a little more inflammatory. They put it in these mortar shells, and they've been launching it into here to gain the upper hand and try and let them get into the store.
And right now I see you're providing some sniper support, is that right?
So you're providing an Overwatch sniper support as the battle rages below. And then any second here, there's going to be a misfire. So this is part, your civilian force. Mistakes happen, things go wrong, and here's an example of that. But where there's a misfire in the mortar, the white phosphorus goes over you.
Ouch.
You fly off the roof, and then Rihanna's going to get you up, and you're going to have to run like hell through this burning inferno.
Oh, man. Okay.
Another thing we do in the game is it's a design philosophy and a tool set that we call the drama engine. And what purpose is to basically continuously deliver dramatic and intense immersive moments to the player as they play through the game. You're going to see some examples of that here. And also you're going to see some examples of when the emotional depth meets this all-out action. How do they combine? And as we go through this, so there's these scripted moments. Some of them are procedural. Some of them are just a sort of the philosophy we use to keep plugging the player with these intense
But
moments.
stuff's always going to happen close to you, basically, is that right?
Yeah, and it's kind of like a slot machine model. When you're playing slots, you always earn a little bit here and there, and it flashes lights and it pings you, and it's constantly getting your attention and keeping you engaged, and that's kind of how we're structuring our action sequences.
Okay, so you found a safe spot here now, is that right?
Right, so you've run through the fire, you're undercover in this tower. Maybe you can hear what they're talking about. Connor's essentially, saying, okay, we gotta wait, let the phosphorus burn off. And Rihanna has a very human moment. She's like, Connor, this is all screwed up. Our people are burning down there. And he has to sort of get her back, get her head back in the game. And it's this kind of, these human moments, it's kind of absent in the FPS genre right now,
Okay, well that calm didn't last very long at all.
No, of course not. So the heli attacks.
Okay.
We have this dramatic tower fall sequence.
Because right now you're still, very outnumbered, right? Even though.
And we'll see when Goliath comes in here. This is the autonomous combat vehicle that the Resistance has. It's another tool they have to help even the odds.
And this is cool. I have seen this before.
Right. So the way it works is it's based on real military technology. It's autonomously driven. He's able to find his own navigation points, and he's able to target enemies with his machine gun. But you can also give him targets with his rocket system. One thing we put in the game is these EMP rounds. That's sort of Goliath's weakness. He's temporarily disabled. So you can see that Chris targeted some enemies there. You can lock onto multiple infantry or vehicles.
So how are you painting those enemies for Goliath?
Yeah, so you're hitting up on the D-pad and it brings up this Goliath targeting device. And then you lock onto them, pull the right trigger, and he fires his rockets.
And those rockets that we see going off, they're the EMP rockets that you're talking about.
And that's the gameplay sort of puzzle here. If you let those EMP guys keep taking them out, the Korean forces are going to be advancing on you. It's going to get harder and harder. So it's really in your interest to take out those EMP shooters as soon as possible. Because when Goliath gets back in the fight, then you suddenly gain the upper hand for a minute again.
Okay. It seems like a pretty awesome weapon. How much will you have Goliath during the game, do you think?
He's a pretty big feature. I kind of think of him as your sidekick through the single player campaign. He's not going to be in every mission, but specifically in big battles like this, because there's a range of battles. Sometimes you're on the run and you're being hunted and things like that. But for the planned assaults and so on, and even for some of the sort of escape sequences, you'll get to use it.
Now, what type of firepower is it actually firing? Because it seems to be was that like tank it just blew up, or?
That was a Humvee, actually.
Oh, okay,
It's like a light armor vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, so it's packing some pretty serious heat, yeah?
Yeah, so it's got machine guns and a 4-barrel mortar launcher, rocket launcher on it.
Okay, all right. So what's happening now in this level?
All right, so you push them back, and then this heli has just come in. Now Chris is going to run up and target the helicopter with Goliath.
Okay.
So you're using Goliath to take it down, and this is the sort of...
The torpedo that sunk the Cheonan and took the lives of 46 South Korean sailors was fired by a North Korean submarine.
North Korea's weapons program continues to intensify.
Now surpassed 1,000 missiles.
Appeared at the UN to call for severe sanctions against North Korea.
This morning comes the news of Kim Jong-il's death. North Koreans greet their new supreme leader, Kim Jong-il's son, Kim Jong-un.
우리 공화국의 통일은 남한과의 한민족을 갖고 올 것이며 경제와 산업의 발전을 갖고 올 것입니다.
Today, our beloved leader, Kim Jong-un, has united North and South Korea, forming the Greater Korean Republic.
Although costs at the pump are ready to break the dreaded $20 ceiling.
The only good communist is a dead communist!
Across the nation, civil unrest has intensified with the demise of the U.S. dollar.
This is not a retreat, nor are we abandoning our Asian allies.
Under threat of annihilation by the Greater Korean Republic, Japan has surrendered.
Martial law is now in effect. Excessive force will be used.
Hours after the president ordered a freeze on bank withdrawals.
We don't know where we will get our next meal from.
Korea's annexation continues to spread despite the U.S. Today, the Greater Korean Republic launched their latest communication satellite, claiming it will bring a message of peace to the entire world.